This is my explorations project on animation by me, Tori Florian. And it's more or less by one animation. Alright, so the 5 types of animation. So 2D animation is more puppet-like. You have to add like rigs to a drawn-out character that you drew or figure and have it go through different motions, and you also actually have the option to draw out or frame it. You can draw out the motions frame by frame. 3D animation is a lot like that. It's just more dimension, obviously. And you also have to let the computer figure out how it is because it's 3D. So it's a lot of dependence, I guess. And traditional animation is your normal frame by frame. You draw it out frame by frame, each motion frame by frame, which is tedious to me. But yeah, motion graphics is more or less for like text, logo, or effects, and basically things that aren't really used for cartoons, I guess. I don't know what to call it. It's like adding an animation in a presentation. That's what motion graphics is basically. If you've ever done that, but yeah, it's more or less for making like a text move. But yeah, stop motion is your regular Tim Burton type of stop motion. It's having a physical object and then making that physical object move frame by frame. So a year ago, I created this animation, which is traditional animation with some sort of shortcuts. And last year, I only really learned about like what frames to edit at and like how things should move, which is why there's a lot of movement in just 11 seconds. But this year I wanted to try out 2D animation, so things to know. Like any other film, it needs to be in 24 frames per second, but there's also this sort of side rule that you can do where you edit in twos, so your character holds its position for 2 frames, I guess. And a film that uses that is Into the Spider-Verse. And you could sort of see the sort of clankiness that it comes with, and I really like that style. A program or software that you can use, or two, are Adobe After Effects or Flash, and I ended up using Adobe After Effects because it has this puppet tool, which I didn't end up finding. I looked up like how to find it, and it just didn't come with my After Effects. I'm pretty sure you have to download it, I guess. But yeah, and then obviously the 12 principles of animation, which basically tell you how things are supposed to move. Like if you're bouncing a ball, I guess, which is what I animated, it should squish when it lands and it should stretch when it's going up because it looks more fluid like that. So here's my ball, and I really shouldn't have made it black because you'll see in the finished product. But yeah, I drew this out in Photoshop and basically imported it to After Effects onto my composition. Alright, so yeah, here's that. You can see in the bottom left corner that like there's the ball, and that there's like this drop option that we learned about in digital media. But yeah, and it tells you how to transform it, and I basically animated it off that because I couldn't find the puppet tool. But I did that, and I also learned that if you zoom in, you can see your frames. So I ended up using that because that was really helpful when you're editing frame by frame, but more or less just dragging things or dragging numbers, which is what I did on transform with scale and positioning. And to get this, you have to make sure that your composition is at 24 frames per second, or 12 frames per second if you want to do twos. But here is my finished product. I made it into a GIF to fit it onto this presentation, which didn't really do it much justice, and this is why I shouldn't have made the ball black, but yeah, this is my 2D animation. Alright, so I think that 2D animation would be really useful for mouths. Like, if you actually took the time to get to know how, like, rigs work, or, like, how to add rigs or anchors, it would be easier to just drag a part of the mouth than redraw the whole mouth, I think. And I also found that it was nicer not having to redraw each frame. So yeah, thank you.